Hello, this is McD the Beast, and this is McD Sports 4 coming to you today with my Purdue Boilermakers predictions for the 2019 college football season. Before I continue, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button and please subscribe to the channel. It will be greatly appreciated if you do that. I have a subscriber goal to hit 200 subscribers by August 24th. I would love to hit that goal. We're well on our way on hitting that goal. So if you're not subscribed to McD Sports 4, please consider hitting that subscriber button. You won't regret it. But anyways, I'm gonna go through the pros and cons for Purdue. Then I'll go through your best case and worst case scenario, your three toughest and three easiest games. Then I'm gonna go through your schedule game by game, tell you which games that Purdue's gonna win or lose. Also give you a score as well, and I'm going to give you a final record prediction and conference record prediction. One more note before I start. Don't hold me to the game by game. Just hold me to the final record at the end, just to clear anything up. So anyways, let's three pros, two cons. Let's start off with the pros, of course, the good stuff. Your head coach, your head coach, Jeff Brom. Jeff Brom, listen, he very underrated head coach. People have listed him in the top three head coaches in the Big Ten. I think that's a little bit too high because I think there's a few head coaches better than him, but he's definitely turned it around at Purdue. Purdue used to be a school that they would win maybe one game of that in the Big Ten. I mean, now they're at least a 500 team in the Big Ten. So Jeff Brom definitely gets a lot of credit for that. So that's your first pro. Your second pro is the offense. The offense is pretty good for Purdue. Um, it should be one of the better offenses in the Big Ten. So that's a good thing. And I think the offense is going to carry Purdue to some wins this year. So uh, the offense is the second pro. And then your third pro, Wandale Moore, the best wide receiver in the Big Ten and maybe the best wide receiver in the country. He might carry your team to a win or two alone just because you have him. I mean, Wandale Moore is going to be playing on Sundays after college. So that's your third pro. You have two cons. Your first con is the defense. I'm not sold on the Purdue defense. I think they're okay, but I'm not sold on them. So that's your first con. And then your second con is talent. It's tough to get talent to come to Purdue. It's in West Lafayette. I've been there before. It's kind of in the middle of nowhere off Interstate 65. Yeah, Interstate 65. But overall, the talent at Purdue is a little bit lax. So that's why I have to put that under the con category. But you have Jeff Brom, so he kind of levels that out of the talent not being as much of an issue. So now let's go through your best case and worst case scenario. Here's the schedule right in front of you. Your best case scenario is 10-2. Your worst case scenario is 6-6. If you hear some stuff in the background, it's pouring here. But anyways, I think Purdue is a team. They could go 10-2. I look at their schedule. They have a few tough games, obviously. On the road against Northwestern, on the road against Iowa, on the road against Wisconsin, on the road against Penn State. I think they lose 2 out of those 4. I also look at on the road against Nevada. That's not good me either. But overall, I do think that Purdue is capable of going 10-2, especially with that offense. Worst case scenario, 6-6. The 5 road games I brought up, and I think they could slip up against TCU. I think they could slip up against Nebraska possibly. Even though Nebraska might be favored going into that game. Even a team like Maryland they could screw up against. And yes, I know I'm a Maryland fan. I know I might be homing a little bit on that statement, but still, it's a legit statement. I'll throw even Minnesota in that category as well. But best case scenario, 10-2. Worst case scenario, 6-6. Your 3 toughest games are Penn State, Northwestern, and Iowa. Penn State, probably your toughest game of the year. It's in Happy Valley. You're on the road for this one. Penn State is a team that I would never count out because of James Franklin. So I think that's going to be a tough one for you all. And it's also Penn State's homecoming game as well. Northwestern is your second toughest game. It's on the road. Northwestern, a team that went 8-1 last year in the Big Ten, basically ran through the Big Ten Western division because their only losses to Michigan in the East. So Northwestern definitely a team that Purdue should not take lightly. And then your third hardest game, I went with Iowa. I could have gone with Wisconsin, but I went with Iowa because it's kind of smack right in the middle of your schedule instead of Wisconsin coming off after you guys are coming off of a bye. So I went with Iowa. I'm pretty high on Iowa. I think they have a tough schedule though, but I'm pretty high on them as well. Your three easiest games: Illinois, Indiana, Minnesota. Illinois and Indiana, I don't think need much of an explanation. Illinois' worst team in the Big Ten West. Indiana, one of the worst two teams in the Big Ten East. And then Minnesota, I could have gone a number of different directions on this one, honestly. I considered the Nevada game, but I think Nevada is a dark horse to make a New Year's Six Bowl. Vandy, I think, will show up against them. TCU, I think, will show up against them. I think Maryland is going to be a shootout. Nebraska is going to be favored going into the game. And I mean, so overall, I kind of went process of elimination. I went with Minnesota. You get them after a bye week at home, so that's why I went with Minnesota. So now let's go through the schedule game by game. I'll tell you which games I have to do winning or losing, give you a score, as I said at the beginning. First game on the road on a Friday night at Nevada. As I said, Nevada is a dark horse to make a New Year's Six Bowl. They've really been growing the past few years. A pretty good offense, a decent defense. And I had to go back and forth with this one, and listen, I like picking a few upsets, and I think Nevada's going to upset Purdue here. I think Purdue, if you look at the point spreads, I think Purdue's like a 9-point favorite. Last time I checked, I'm going to say Nevada pulls off the upset. I have it 42-40. I think it's going to be a shootout. But I'm telling you, don't sleep on Nevada as Purdue drops their first game of the year. Next game is against Vandy. Vandy is a team. They're going to probably be one of the worst teams in the SEC. But I think they're going to show up in this Purdue game. I think it's going to be a very competitive game. But I have Purdue pulling away late here. 38-24 Purdue as they get their first win of the year. Next game, TCU, another team that I think will show up in this one, middle of the road team in the Big 12. The game is in Purdue and West Lafayette. I do think that Purdue wins this one. I think the difference is the Purdue offense. I think Purdue wins this one at 31-27. TCU, they have one of the better defenses in the Big 12, but it's a Big 12 defense. Then Purdue, they get their first bye week. Every team gets 2 bye weeks because of how the calendar aligns with the schedule. So that's how it is this season. Coming off the bye, you get Minnesota. This game's going to be a shootout. Minnesota has a pretty good offense. The defense, though, I think is pretty bad. A lot of people are really overhyping Minnesota. I think Purdue wins this game 48-41. It's going to be a shootout, but Purdue comes up on top with that home crowd and West Lafayette. Next game is at Penn State, your toughest game of the year. Penn State is a team that's going to have a pretty good defense. The offense could be a little suspect, though. I think this game does go back and forth. This is the homecoming game for Penn State. If you already watched my Penn State football prediction video, you already know who I have in this one. I do have Penn State winning 27-20. I think Penn State is the better team personally, but I do think Purdue will be in it. So 27-20, Penn State. Next game, Maryland, your homecoming game. I am a Terps fan, so I'm going to try to keep as much bias out as possible. I think this game's going to be a shootout. I think it's going to go back and forth. It could very well be the highest scoring game of the year in the Big Ten. But I'm going to go ahead and roll with the home team in Purdue. I'm going to say Purdue beats my Terps this year. I've been kind of saying it for months now that they're going to beat us. I have it 55-47. I think it's going to be an absolute shootout, a fun game to watch. But I think with it being homecoming and with Purdue being the home team, I'm going to go ahead and roll with Purdue in an 8-point victory over my Maryland Terps. Next game at Iowa. Iowa is a team, pretty good defense. The offense, listen, I said the offense might degress a little bit in the Iowa football prediction video, and 2 or 3 people commented saying the offense is expected to be better. So we'll see, obviously. I think Iowa is the better team than Purdue, and the game's in Iowa. That home field advantage is just going to be too much for the Purdue Boilermakers. I have Iowa winning this game 24-20. It'll be a fun game to watch, but Iowa, I think, comes up on top. Next game is Illinois at home. This will be a win for Purdue, Illinois' worst team in the Big Ten West. I have Purdue winning this game very easily, 49-23 Purdue. I think Illinois might be in it for maybe a quarter, maybe even a half, but Purdue's just a much better team, especially with that offense, the overpowering offense. Purdue's going to win 49-23 in my opinion. Next game is Nebraska, a team that a lot of people are really high on. I'm not too high on them personally. I do think they are a bit better than Purdue, though. But I'm going to go ahead and pick the minor upset here. I'm going to say Purdue wins this one 41-34. I just think the game being in West Lafayette is going to be the difference. I'm telling you, West Lafayette is a very underrated home field advantage. So I think that could carry Purdue to through a few games. And I have Purdue being Nebraska on the minor upset 41-34. Next game is at Northwestern, a team that basically ran through the Big Ten West last year. And I think I think they're the team to beat in the Big Ten West personally. And this game is in Northwestern. It's in Evanston, Illinois, and I do have Northwestern coming up on top. I think it'll be a back and forth matchup, but I think Northwestern squeaks by Purdue here, 28-27. I think it's gonna be a fun game to watch, but I have Northwestern coming up on top. Then you get your second bye week. Then Purdue, they get to go on the road against Wisconsin, a team that I think is going to field a very good defense, and they could have a pretty good running game. As you know, Wisconsin basically produces NFL not linemen. Wisconsin is a team I think is going to bounce back some from last year's very disappointing season. I mean, they lost to BYU at home. That's pretty disappointing. I think Wisconsin goes ahead and wins this game. If you already watched my prediction video for Wisconsin, you already know that I had Wisconsin in this contest, and I have Wisconsin winning this game. Same point spread as the Northwestern game, a 1 point win for Wisconsin, 24-23. I mean, I think Wisconsin's maybe a little bit better than Purdue, but personally, but I'm still going to roll with Wisconsin. 24-23. The home field advantage there in Madison will be the difference. And the Wisconsin defense, I think, will slow down the Purdue offense a bit. Then your final game of the year, always against Indiana, in-state rivalry game here. You get them at home this year. I think this is going to be a win for you, a pretty easy win. I do think that Indiana could keep this close for a half, but at the end, I got to go Purdue here, 42-21. Purdue's just the better team at this point than Indiana. Indiana has a good quarterback, but that's just about it. But anyways, that's my game by game there. If you count up the wins and losses, I have Purdue going 7-5 with a 5-4 conference record. 7-5 with a 5-4 conference record. You get into a bowl game. It might be a little bit of a disappointing season because I think there are expectations in Purdue to go maybe 9-3. But the way the schedule works out for y'all, you get all your tough opponents on the road this year. So overall, 7-5, 5-4 conference record. I think you gotta be happy with this if you're a Purdue fan. I think that offense is gonna carry you to a bowl game. But anyways, comment down below. Tell me what you think. I always like hearing from y'all. Thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button and please subscribe to the channel. It'll be greatly appreciated and you won't regret it. Thanks for watching, and this is McD the Beast signing off.